Alright guys, so what do we have here? We have basically almost an AMA Pro Motocross Nationals game. That's pretty much what we have here. Well, about half of it. What we have here is replay because it was really cool. A bunch of the top riders were at the front of the pack here, so when I was switching the camera, it was really easy and we could kind of showcase some of them really quickly to you at the beginning. Plus, it looks cool. It looks really cool. Sometimes it looks a bit stiff, but some of the camera angles are pretty cool. So, yes, and then we switch over. We do have some Tomac, some Dungey, some Roxon, some Jet Lawrence, some Joe Shimoda gameplay to show you. It's really, really, really cool. The mod is by Pay 2021. We talked about it in the Supercross video we did, how to get it. I don't really want to, repeat myself on how I feel about that. If you don't know, go watch that video. The Monster Energy Supercross 6 basically video. Go watch that video if you're really curious. But yeah, Pay 2021, he did a great job. This is an awesome mod, and I really enjoyed myself while I was using it in MXGP 2021 here. So when I say half, we have about half of an AMA Pro Motocross Nationals game because we have the 2022 rider team roster, right? We're just missing the tracks, which I know is a big part, but still pretty cool. Here we have Eli Tomac on Star Yamaha, which is pretty sweet. And what else? I was going to say something. Oh yeah, so an AMA Pro Motocross Nationals game, will it ever happen? I don't know. I mean, we have those tracks in All Out and now in Legends, so MX versus ATV kind of has a clamp down on those tracks right now. They sponsor the outdoor season and all that stuff, but I mean, maybe somebody does it eventually. It just kind of makes sense. I mean, to get the licensing is pretty difficult, but I mean, it makes sense it would be Milestone. I mean, a lot of people probably wouldn't be happy with it. Some people would be happy with it, but it makes sense because let's face it, Milestone does licensed games, right? They do MotoGP, the new SBK22, I think. MXGP, Supercross, even Ride. The bikes, the manufacturers, the gear, the places in the world where that game takes place. It makes sense that Milestone would be good at doing this if they could put it all together, right? I don't see it happening. I don't see it happening anytime soon, at least, but it would make sense that it was Milestone. Now, this is Dungey. This is sick. It's really cool. I mean, we have the 250 and 450 rider team roster from Pay 2021. The Dungey mod is really sick, and I love the gear he decided to go with. But back to the will it ever happen, I don't know. It would be cool if, because we get mods in these games, it would be cool if somebody could mod tracks in the game. Because we've seen the tracks in Reflex, in All Out, in Legends, in MX Simulator, MX Bikes. I mean, probably a different game, but we've seen the tracks. It just would be cool if if it was possible to mod tracks in an MXGP where the detail and all the stuff that is on the official tracks could be added into the modded tracks, right? Or have new things imported. It would be cool. It would be really cool. This wasn't my favorite game. I feel like for Milestone to do, or if they were to do an AMA Pro Motocross game, I would want the game to be in a better place. It has kind of been a reoccurring theme, and now I even saw it in SBK 22. People were saying this is just a mod. It's just a reskin of a MotoGP 2021 or 2022, whatever, 2022. It's unfortunate because Milestone, I mean, think back. So around the time of MXGP3 and Supercross 1, Milestone was being praised for making a good game and doing good on their games that they were making, for going out and putting together an official Supercross game. That was huge. and they were in a really good spot, in my opinion. MXGP3 is one of my favorite games. Supercross 1 is one of my favorite games. And then they kind of took a hit from me. MXGP Pro was really good. And then I didn't like it. And then now, after the games we've gotten, it's like, okay, that game actually was pretty good. It was actually pretty okay. And then Supercross 2 wasn't as good. And then Supercross 3 was amazing. So Milestone was still in a pretty good place with the player base, I think. In good graces with the player base, I guess. But they lately, I don't know if they've been trying to do too much or what, but lately it's been minor adjustments and changes to the game and taking away features, and I just don't feel like the player base of any of Milestone's games are very happy right now. I feel like for the most part people are really upset, really disappointed that Milestone makes some very small adjustments and then pushes it out with a new HUD. I don't like that, and I don't think anybody does. So for Milestone to even try to attempt to do an AMA Pro game, Pro Motocross national game, they have to get their other games in line. MXGP needs to be better. It does. I know some people preferred it more than 2020. I didn't. I don't think it's a terrible game, but it just isn't good enough, in my opinion. If you feel differently, don't freak out. That's fine. That's just how I feel about it. But they gotta get their games in a better place. We don't even know. I mean, I would assume an MXGP game is coming, but they've been pretty mum about it, right? And Supercross, I don't know. I would assume, but I know they were contracted for 5 games. I don't know if they've renewed their contract to do more. I would assume, because I think Supercross is still probably more profitable for them than MXGP. I'm not saying that MXGP isn't big enough. What I mean is that I feel like the MXGP series has kind of fallen off, and people decide, do I want MXGP or do I want Supercross? I think that a bunch of players go that route, but yeah, I don't know. I don't see it happening. I don't see it happening anytime soon. Wishful thinking that Milestone gets their stuff together and starts making better games. You know, graphics are good, customization is good, but the customization, more new gear, you know, change to gameplay physics, get rid of the push the sticks together, pull them apart whip, always improve bike sounds. I think they're pretty good for the most part, but always could improve them. And I don't know. I mean, there's other stuff. A better career, more meaningful career. Put more effort into the compounds. You know, I feel like they did really good, and now it's just kind of copy and paste. You know, maybe make it a bit different, but basically copy and paste. It just needs to show that there's more effort. They need to go back to how they were with MXGP3 and Supercross. I'm not saying make the game that way. I mean, put that kind of passion and effort into it. It just doesn't feel like, and maybe they do have tons of passion, but it doesn't feel like there's a ton of passion in their recent games. Any of them. Even the Superbike, Street Bike games, you know? Yeah, that's just my opinion. I'd be really curious to see what you guys think about the AMA Pro Motocross game by Milestone or by anybody. And the last thing I want to talk about before we end here is Ken Roczen and Honda HRC have parted ways. I don't know if it was mutual. Honda has burnt some people before, Ricky and McGrath, and I mean, they have done that, but they did stick with Ken through his worst times in his career, you know, with his injuries and whatnot and all that, his fitness and stuff. But I mean, I know he's fit, but there was times where he was fading in weird ways because, I don't know, he was sick or whatever. But I don't know, it's weird. I know Ken wants to do the World Supercross, the 2 races overseas, and then he wants to do Red Bull Straight Rhythm, and it appears that HRC didn't want him to, so probably a conflict of interest to some degree. Roczen was like, no way. Plus they got Chase is kind of the man right now. They probably want to bring up Jet and Hunter Lawrence, so maybe they felt like they didn't need Ken. But I'd be really curious to see what you guys think. I did see something crazy suggested that, hey, Ricky and Triumph, maybe Ken Roczen does that. That would be insane. insane. It would be. But let me know in the comments what you guys think. I'd be really curious to see. But you guys and girls are absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for the support on the channel lately. It really does mean a lot. And until the next video, take it easy.